uba chambe yo.
Mission control, bring the leg up. But people go different ways, and people attack in different ways. There's, you know, with all the go-go clinch stuff, and the two things, and there's just so much. There's so much going on, and when you're trying to learn it, you might get hit with, you know, different variations of the rubber guard, and maybe not grasp one and kind of just give up on it. All right. So what I put together, I put together a flow. I put together 8 flows that are they're just permanent. Might have some little tweaks. We might alter them here and there and do variations, but it's the main. Jiu-Jitsu is a bunch of stuff. She needs both frames. So my hip is constantly just smashing this frame at the wrist just to kill that frame. So however you pass, getting to flat mode immediately, like if you flip over, you got to just go boom right here and it secure the pass. Bollinger break, that's the best one. I mean, arm crush is huge. You put arm crush, those two, that's all you really need. There's a bunch of other, you know, boogie break, that's a great one. X break, that's a great one. There's 10 different ways to get that arm out. But in my opinion, if I was going to leave you one, that Bollinger break, that's the best one.
What's it up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with a post show. I don't know if you guys were watching the Jiu Jitsu Overdose, but the first day of competition went. Right now, they're probably getting, they're probably getting roasted at a function. There is a comedy show that happened at 11 p.m. So just to fill you in on what's happening at Jiu Jitsu Overdose, it's 4 days of Jiu Jitsu events. Today was the first day, and it was filled with qualifying action that will essentially have repercussions for the next couple days, but we're not quite there yet. You may notice over here, there's a little bit of a cat. Now, this is the flying avocado cat. It is the kind of AI spokesperson for a new cryptocurrency, and we hope that you enjoy it. The commercials that they're running on the EBI and Combat Jiu-Jitsu will be all throughout the weekend, but they are also a proud sponsor of the Bullpen for the next 3 days. So we hope that you enjoy them, and that we want to say thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to do the fun things that we're doing. So if you're wondering why there is an avocado cat, well, that's only part of it. That's 2/3 of it. There's also a flying element that I guess you didn't pay attention to. Nonetheless, why are we here today? Well, I notice a few of you in the comment section. It says, Raph, I love you. And it says, I just overdosed / dead. Well, the comment section has never died. Let's just say that. I want to point this out to you guys. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. And yes, we do have a little bit of a show. We'll get to a recap in just a few minutes. But we are also very happy to have some correspondents helping us out with some of our coverage. And as a result of that, we now can play some footage of some interviews that were done by our correspondent, Carla, who has very nicely been doing some work for us out on the field. So why don't you take a look at who she was able to speak to while out at day 1 of the Jiu Jitsu Overdose.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos. My name is Carla. We are here from Cancun. We are in Planet Hollywood Resort, and today we have a Combat Jiu Jitsu Mexico. Johnny, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm really happy to be here. I'm Johnny Hernandez. I'm the head coach at 10 Planet Cancun, and I have 6 students competing this weekend. For today that we have Combat Jiu Jitsu Mexico, my prediction is that Jan Alejandro and Rene, they're gonna be in the finals. And you have to know that the first time that I asked Eddie about letting me make one event, it was just a dream. And now this is the number 10th. So I'm really happy. I'm really honored to have this event every year that Eddie just made Cancun as headquarters for the Combat Jiu-Jitsu Medusa Eddie Bravo Invitational. So I'm really focused and keep doing what I need to do to keep going and have this event every year. And so I'm really happy to have all of you and all the people watching around the world that we're doing this. So I'm really honored.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias, Johnny. Hi, Mau. How are you?
Pretty nervous, but excited.
Tell us a bit about yourself and how did you first get into Jiu-Jitsu?
I first got into Jiu-Jitsu as a way to help my MMA, but I instantly fell in love and I kept training, kept competing, and found myself in this big stage. It's the greatest opportunity I've had in Jiu-Jitsu so far. It's the biggest platform I've ever been able to compete, and I'm very excited to show the world who I am.
How do you feel about the slap element in combat, and does it change something in your game?
It changes nothing because I also am a professional fighter. It's my bread and butter. I do this every day, so it's like another day in the office for me.
Without giving me too much information, what's your game plan?
Slapping everyone.
When you are out there on the mat, what's going through in your mind?
Nothing really. I'm just focusing in the task on hand, and everything happens so fast that I don't really have time to think. I'm proud that I end up competing a big stage as this, achieving such heights, and I'm very excited.
Win or loss, what's the first thing you doing after the event?
Maybe get some piñas coladas, I don't know.
Okay. Yamar, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenido.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes.
Muy bien. Te voy a hacer unas pequeñas preguntas. Bueno, vamos a empezar. ¿Puedes decir como algo muy corto acerca de ti y cómo es que empezaste en Jiu-Jitsu?
Bueno, yo empecé en Jiu-Jitsu por la influencia de un amigo que me insistía mucho en entrar, en querer entrenar. Entonces, un día me convenció y decidí acompañarlo y de ahí me quedé y ya nunca paré.
Para ti, competir hoy en Combat Jiu-Jitsu México, ¿qué significa?
Pues vamos a cambiar un poquito el formato, vamos a adaptarnos un poquito a lo que es el golpeo y pues vamos a trabajar nuestra lucha, nuestro jiu-jitsu y vamos a sacar la pelea adelante.
Okay, muy bien. Justamente esa es mi tercera pregunta, porque jiu-jitsu pues obviamente es sin cachetadas, ¿no? ¿Cómo ahora, incluyendo las cachetadas, te vas a sentir en la pelea?
Pues realmente bien, solo siento que a veces es algo que puede distraerte, pero uno tiene que mantenerse enfocado en el objetivo y a seguir haciendo su jiu-jitsu.
Sin darme muchísima información, ¿cuál crees que va a ser tu plan? Tu plan.
Pues realmente no tengo un plan de juegos, siempre soy instintivo. Puedo decir que voy a hacer algo y si mi oponente reacciona de otra forma, hago otra cosa. Entonces creo que lo que haga lo he entrenado y me va a salir muy bien.
¿Hay algo en toda esta trayectoria que has tenido en Jiu-Jitsu en lo que te sientas orgulloso de ti?
Me siento orgulloso de estar representando a México en la parte del Jiu-Jitsu, ya que esto es un deporte que me apasiona bastante y realmente requiere mucha disciplina, mucha determinación y sobre todo valor para presentarse en este tipo de formatos. Ganar o perder realmente es lo que Dios va a determinar en mi situación. Él sabe que me he esforzado muy duro por todo, entonces ya el resultado yo voy a estar conforme con su decisión.
Muy bien. Y por último, pero no menos importante, ¿qué va a pasar contigo después de Combat Jiu-Jitsu? ¿Tienes algún plan o alguna meta?
Tengo pensado seguir compitiendo en Jiu-Jitsu, ya que es algo que me apasiona. Puede ser que entre a una SC o puede ser que me den espacio en el EBI, entonces tengo las ganas de volver a competir pronto y pues realmente no importa el resultado, sino esas ganas de seguir compitiendo y seguir entrenando.
Muy bien, pues mucha suerte, mucho gusto y el mejor de los éxitos hoy. Gracias. Hi René, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, let's start. How did you first get into Jiu-Jitsu?
Well, I'm a little bit nervous. It's the first time I'm doing combat jiu-jitsu, so I don't know. I feel like I have to do it with all the score I have, but I'm ready to roll. I started jiu-jitsu 9 years ago with Johnny Hernandez in 10 Planet Cancun.
Okay. What does competing here at Combat Jiu-Jitsu Mexico means to you?
It's a dream come true. I used to watch these events on the TV or here, but in an audience. So now being a competitor is a dream come true.
How do you feel about the slap element in Combat Jiu-Jitsu?
I usually play guard, so with a slap, I know I need to get on top and stay on top. Found myself on bottom. I know the way to get up or just from that.
Without giving too much information, do you have a game plan today?
Yes, just stay on top. Maybe grab the neck and work on some front headlocks, but stay on top actually is the most of it.
What's something in your journey that you are proud of?
I have been resilient all my life, so I'm proud of that.
Okay. Win or lose, what's the first thing you doing after the competition?
Have a burger. Have a burger, being with my friends and family, and just enjoy that I completed a dream.
Thank you very much to our correspondent, Carla, who was able to go out there and get us some great interviews. You'll be seeing more from her and our friends out in Mexico, who will be supplying us with some interviews throughout the next few days. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll walk you through what you may have missed, because it's entirely possible you didn't see anything from Jiu Jitsu Overdose today. Don't worry. That is what I'm here for, my friends. So allow me to enlighten you with a day full of recaps and information that maybe will paint the picture of what you might have missed at Jiu Jitsu Overdose. Now, when I say things got off to a very quick start, they didn't mess around. At Jiu Jitsu Overdose today, they literally, within the first few seconds of competition, had a submission in the form of one Mauricio Rios, who was able to start the night off with an excellent heel hook. And Mauricio kind of set the tone for us. He led for the entire night. Mauricio a little bit later, but just after that, it didn't take much longer for Enrique Hurtado to actually get a rear naked choke. And again, the action just didn't stop. Enrique looking like he's in a great mood right there, as he should be, getting it done super quick. Now, this is when the event, you would think, 2 back-to-back submissions, not lasting too much in terms of regulation time, would start to slow down. Well, you would be wrong with that. And in fact, you might be a little entertained, because right here, Irvin Ayama was able to get an armbar, and in doing so, kind of set us in a path where we were seeing excellent work. This was a very fun match, but one of the things that I noted in our pre-show was I looked at Ayama in his photo, and I said, this dude looks like he's submitting a fight photo. And wouldn't you believe it, this was a guy who was really going out there and putting the pressure and dictating the pace, and definitely brought a sense of MMA to what is already a very interesting event. And you can see right here, dude's all business. So he didn't waste too much time. Shortly after that, perhaps one of the funniest moments of the day comes from this match, where the opponent was wagging his finger to say, no, this is not done. But it's a tale of two photos here because maybe just a few seconds after that, he did tap. Now, was it the right thing to do? Brandon McCatherine on the call was saying, hey, man, you don't... Hold on, I got to do a Brandon McCatherine voice. Hey, man, you can't just wag a finger and then tap. That's not how that does. But he did. And I got to tell you, if you know lights are going out, at the very least, playing it up is very entertaining. So I didn't hate on this as well. On the commentaries, like, I think he might have been having some showmanship. That seemed to be the case right there. But a big congratulations to the winner of that match. Jan Fernandez looked excellent, got that choke finish, and just stayed on it throughout the entire version. So that was the first round of lightweight action, which proved to be very interesting because the lightweights are competing for their opportunity to compete on Sunday's Combat Jiu-Jitsu event. Nonetheless, there's a secondary tournament that, in case you were wondering, are we going to see some of those? The answer is very much so, because it started off incredibly quick, again, by Carlos Calval, who got this vicious armbar here. And Carlos also brings an MMA style to his form of jiu-jitsu. So it was on air that they said he was talking trash to his opponent. So this is a guy who feels pretty comfortable in his own ability to perform and perhaps rile up the audience. Hard to say here, but he brought out a very good clash as well. So, of course, Carlos Calval actually looked very good tonight. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about him in just a second. In one of the odder moments of the night, though, Andy Granados may have caught us by surprise. He definitely caught his opponent by surprise when he was able to get this Americana from underneath. And he was using it in transition to get out of the position. But unfortunately, his opponent was unable to get out of that particular situation. And I don't know that a lot of people understand what it's like to get caught by an Americana from bottom. It definitely does exist. And if somebody puts the right torque on it, you're definitely going to be tapping. And most people wouldn't think that would be a threat, especially from bottom. Although I should point this out, we do call it an Americana here in the States, but I do believe when you were in Cancun, it is referred to as a Mexicano. I'm not quite sure. My Spanish is quite horrible. But nonetheless, congratulations are in order for Andy Granados, who made a big statement. Shortly thereafter, Oswaldo Ganamar ended up being... He's the Rafael... I don't know if we claim him. Nonetheless, Rafael was very entertaining from bottom because trying to utilize his lockdown to elevate and get out of a bad spot. And just, he struggled there. He was there for about a good 6 or 7 minutes of a match. And at one point, he was trying to rile up the crowd. It's very hard to do from underneath. And ultimately, he succumbed to an armbar by Oswaldo here. But props nonetheless to both these gentlemen for at least finding a way to finish. And I got to be honest, when you see somebody like Rafael calling out for extra time or saying, like, let's get behind this to the audience, at first, you seem to think, I don't know if this is going to work. But nonetheless, he made it quite good. I do want to bring this up here. I did get this quote here. Joshua, what exactly do you need my email address for? And if you are a spammer, like, you have to tell me that. It's like being a cop. You can't do entrapment here. So, state your intentions, young man. That's what I should say. We now go to the last round of the very first round, if you would, that ended. It was the first one to actually go into overtime. So imagine this. There were essentially 7 matches that all were finished within regulation. This was the first one to go into overtime. And yet, you were able to get Alex Toledo, who was able to get an armbar in the first period of that regulation, that overtime. Here's where things get a little bit murky, though. He got the finish, and it was super dope. He gets his hero moment here. But what we might have not known at home was that I think while in the match, he had a rib compression that was essentially kind of taking it out of him. He looked like he was wincing throughout the match, and unfortunately was unable to make it to the semifinals. So a little bit of a bummer right there. But nonetheless, big props to Alex for toughing it out and still managing to get a finish in overtime. I don't know that a lot of people know what it's like to be injured and still find it within you to deliver on that kind of a stage. So props to him. And that was the first round of action. So when I say these things were moving fast and furious, the entire event is done essentially in 2 hours, which is kind of unheard of. The only thing I think I've ever seen do that is the UFC Fight Pass. But those of us who have been used to the CJI or the ADCCs or the CJJ events over the past few years, we're pretty much used to the idea of, all right, let's take a break. Let's take a moment. 2 people are going to go to overtime. Not the case today. So today it was a lot of action that was happening. Why don't we go ahead and show you what happens next? Now, in the second round of action, this time again returning for the lightweights, you saw Mauricio going right back to work, attacking the legs, and his entries are very fun to watch. So not only does he get the finish here, but he's getting 1 inch closer to making his way to that Sunday CJJ Worlds that is going to be happening. So super stoked about that. He ends out with the ones right here, but then just a short time later, Irvin is able to get a rear naked choke, and this rear naked choke, it was one that was really fun. This was a full-on match that was entirely an epic one to watch, one of the better ones of the day. And Irvin wasn't messing around this week. So big props to him for an excellent display on his jiu-jitsu. That was your semifinals for the lightweights. Now we return back to the welterweights. You might be asking yourself, well, what are they going for? Because we know what the lightweights are going for. The welterweights are actually looking for their opportunity to compete at the EBI. That is happening on Saturday. Nonetheless, they're doing it under contested CJJ rules, which means there's the combat element just for today. But come Saturday, they won't be slapping anybody, which might be a relief to most people who were watching Carlos Galvão, who right here, look at the way his knees are pinched. It was kind of essentially a makeshift kind of crucifix that he was hitting here. And it's important to note that this rear knee, you just kind of have to start moving the hand back if you have the right grip here. And what might be kind of funny about this one particular was tapping damn near enough that he might have been putting in Morse code, I know who killed JFK. That's what I got. I'm not quite sure. It's an Eddie Bravo podcast, so I just assume everything that is messaging is a conspiracy. So there is that. But nonetheless, Carlos looked really good. And again, makes his way into the finals with this performance. And he's definitely somebody to watch. His aggression, his matches, especially to this point, all incredibly fun to watch. He's got the right kind of aggression, and I was very pleased to see him utilize his time on the stage. But not to be outdone, we did mention just a few seconds before, Alex Toledo unfortunately unable to continue, so his opponent ended up stepping up, but not quite being able to get it done against Oswaldo, who was able to get a finish there with the rear naked choke. So Oswaldo feeling pretty good about himself. And now, my friends, you kind of get the idea of what the stakes are, so I bet you're wondering who and what advanced. And if you are wondering that, I think you wouldn't be surprised to find out that the man that got 2 separate heel hooks was able to advance, just this time switching it up on you with an armbar finish. That is one Mauricio Rua, who looked incredible today. He got 3 out of 3 finishes. All of his matches, again, his leg locks looked really good. He didn't spend a ton of time on this mat, but he was very efficient, and this was the longest match that he had throughout the entire tournament, and still looked really good. His opponent, Irwin, also was a good clash for him, a good MMA style, and it was fun to watch. But I do have to say, Mauricio, he looks really good. I wonder how he'll do on Sunday. I'm excited to see him continue on and do big things. So big shout out to him. You might have seen in our interviews that we just put up a few seconds ago, he was one of the people who was interviewed and has super solid English. But it was really fun to watch him go to work. So if he continues to do well, perhaps he is somebody you might see on the Grappling Hour in the near future. Nonetheless, look at this one. This one was another incredible finish. If you're wondering who is going to advance from the bigger boys from tonight, well, it shouldn't come as a surprise because he was already doing so well throughout the evening. Carlos Calvo was able to secure the win with this rear naked choke finish in overtime. And it was fun to watch. He got it over Oswaldo. And you know what was really great about this back and forth is when you watch him go to work, this man is literally smiling as he is killing someone's dream here. But he put on an impressive display here tonight that I thought was worthy enough not only of the attention that he got, but he also seemed to take advantage of his time on the mic when key instigator, one Brandon McCatherine, took the opportunity to ask him if he had any words, considering he was chirping off a little bit earlier on the sidelines to his opponents. Would he have any words for, say, Alan Sanchez, a reigning EBI title holder? And he said, I mean, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to submit you. And it kind of becomes a little bit scarier when it's some dude that is fought professionally telling you that. Nonetheless, if you've ever watched Alan Sanchez, you know that is not necessarily an easy task to do. But nonetheless, everybody, that was the event that you may or may not have watched today. So I'm super stoked about this entire week of events. It's already off to an excellent start. So let me walk you through how the rest of the week is going to work here. So just in case you're wondering, tomorrow, Medusa will take place at Cancun, Mexico. Then the Hard Rock Hotel will give way to another event that is going to be taking place on Saturday. That is EBI Classic, Original Crispy, if you would. And that is going to take place with the welterweights, and it's going to give way to the grand finale on Sunday for Jiu Jitsu Overdose with the return of Combat Jiu Jitsu Worlds. Now, what's interesting is tonight they named them individual lightweight and welterweight Combat Jiu Jitsu champions for Mexico. It's big championship, and Sunday for Combat Jiu Jitsu will be the actual world. Not short on things to celebrate here, but there is going to be a weekend full of incredible action, and I hope that you guys... That's a good question. It looks like for the next few days, we'll have some kind of pre-show happening within the 2 p.m. Pacific time hour. These shows tend to be about 30 minutes. Right now, we're already clocking in at exactly 30 minutes right then and there, so props to us. But the way it goes is, if you miss it and you miss any of the action, you can go ahead and check in with us. But we'll definitely be doing some pre-shows, and then we'll let you guys know. I think probably on Monday, we'll do a big recap show, which will kind of give you the idea of what exactly you missed if you didn't catch any of the events. So don't worry if you're a little bit busy. I know the holidays are here. I know there's even comedy shows at the event. There's seminars even happening there. We are going to make sure that we give you all the information that is fit for your ears and your eyes and your heart. But I think, ladies and gents, that essentially is going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. I hope that you guys have had a great day. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.